Can you take a 3 tips article or blog post or any kind of 3 tips content and convert it, repurpose it, turn it into a profitable digital empire? You're going to find out the answer to that in just a moment. Welcome, everyone, to episode 121 of the Content Profit Show. I'm your host, Jeff Herring, and in a minute, I'll introduce our great guest over here. Thank you, everyone. I always say this after I give the number of the episode, so because it's y'all that made that possible. Okay, I've tried a few podcasts before, like a lot of people have, and I had no passion for it. This, on the other hand, is my favorite thing to do now. And you guys have just responded so well, and I appreciate it. 2 things to think about as we get started here. One is that I can't remember the writer's name, but a certain science fiction writer, the great quote is, any sufficiently developed technology is indistinguishable from magic. Okay, so before we get into the magic here, okay, a couple of things. I want you to watch this with 2 questions in mind. One, how can I use what Jeff and Sue are doing in my own business? And 2, how can I get Jeff to do for me what he's doing for Sue? Okay. And the link to do that is right below here, jeffherring.com/profit. And you have, okay, this is totally straight up, you have until midnight, January 1st, to go get a Content Profit Suite for free. Because at midnight on January 1st, it goes to $47. We started at $97. And then when we went to every day, I was doing it for free and kept that around for a while. Now I do twice a week, and we're raising it in the new year. And also, speaking of special things, watch your email, folks. December 26th, probably early, maybe even midnight, if I can get myself to stay up that late. Oh, but there's that little thing called scheduling broadcast. Oh, I could do that. I might just do that. Anyway, I am offering my best special ever. I've taken Content Profit Nation and created 3 levels using all the cool and latest tools, including my own custom chat GPTs that I've created for you guys around content creation and some done-for-you services. And I'm super excited about it. During the week, I've got it priced incredibly easy. And then it's all going to go up by $50 each first of the year. So that is the time to get in. And I'll be sending some email teasers about it for the next few days. Now, over here is our guest today, Sue. And she is part of our Canadian week because my guest on 120 was from Toronto, and you're from near Toronto. Waterloo. Okay.
Waterloo.
Yeah, you gotta have that French feel. And I went to grad school and then lived for 27 years where FSU is, Tallahassee, Florida. And they have their college football team is well known. So is their baseball team. Their former coach is the winningest one. And they had a particular group. You'll get a kick out of this. They had a particular group called the Animals of Section B. It was a cheering group, and it was started by college and grad school guys who still do it 40 years later. And they came up with all kind of incredible cheers and making fun of the opposition and stuff I won't do here. But the one I love the most, there was a player, I think it was in the 90s, from Canada, okay? And you're familiar with the seventh inning stretch, right? Okay. Well, they came up with the 4th inning stretch. And that's when they would all get up and sing the Canadian national anthem for this player. Now, oh, Canada. See, I know it in my head.
There you go.
And that was done in the 90s. And 30 years later, they're still doing it. Sometimes I go to those games just to watch that. I met somebody in our college ministry at church who saw my FSU and said, yeah, her dad played. I said, go home and ask him about the animals and see what he says. She came back and she goes, he'd never told that story before. First time I took my sons, they were like, you weren't making this up, were you? No. No. So welcome, Canada. Tell us what your niche is, Sue.
I work with people who are recently diagnosed with celiac disease. And
wow. How interesting.
So they need to be extremely attentive to what they're eating. It's a big change, because all of a sudden you're looking at every food that you eat and is it safe? Was it made in a safe environment? It can really drive you crazy until you start to understand what the risks are, what's risky, what's less risky. And a lot of people just completely shut themselves in. They don't eat anywhere except at home. And my goal is to help them open up the world again.
Ooh, I love that. Help them. Ooh, help them open up. That should be your tagline on something. Helping you open up your world again. That's
okay.
Y'all in the audience, how you like that? Helping you open up your world again. I mean, I'd sign up, and I don't even have celiac. And so your ideal people are recent diagnosis, and you mentioned that a lot of them are just scared.
They are. I mean, they're so overwhelmed, and there's so much information out on the internet. Some of it's right, some of it's wrong. A lot of it is contradictory. Yeah. And they need to learn the principles rather than just having a big long list of, well, you can eat this, but you can't eat that. They need to understand rather than try to remember what brand name is safe.
Isn't anything around health and eating so much more than the two lists, what you can't have, what you can have? There's so much mindset to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When you think about worrying about every bite you put in your mouth, that is overwhelming. And
absolutely.
It makes sense, but it affects then all of your social life. Mm-hmm. Who do you go, when you go to a friend's house to eat, when you go out for dinner at a restaurant, when you travel, all of those things some people just give up. They just shut themselves down. And that's the people I want to work with, is the people who are in that state, and help them.
What a great need. I remember 3 years ago, was it now? 3, 4? I grew up drinking Mr. Pibb. I probably nursed on it, and then added sweet tea. And both of them have such really great associations for me during my life. And then basically by drinking it so much, I gave myself AFib, irregular heartbeat, was diagnosed 3 or 4 years ago. And so I haven't had a drop since then, because what I figured out was, okay, I could drink what I want and die, okay? Or I could drink water, which is right here, and live a long, great life. And so, that's my mindset when I walk by a glass of Chick-fil-A sweet tea or a Mr. Pibb bottle with it. Even the logo triggers good feelings in me, and it's like, but I'd like to be around a long time. So so much of it is mindset. With these folks, and you're doing such a cool thing with them. What's your dream, Sue?
I'm still trying to work that out, Jeff. I know I want to work with people individually, perhaps small groups, because I think that can inspire each other, if you will.
Right.
And I would be looking for, in one sense, the goal is to get a client and get rid of them, get them to a state where they are self-sustaining. Yeah. So, that means an ongoing set of clients. There is an ongoing diagnosis. As many as 2% of the population may have celiac disease.
At least. And you need two things. You need both a steady stream of new people, and then also with some of the online stuff we'll talk about today, reasons for them to stick. Okay? Because this is a lifelong thing, right?
Yeah.
Talk about having a client for life. I like that. And so that makes a lot of sense to do that. Uh, I reminds me when I was a counseling psychologist, and especially with the hypnosis and phobia stuff I did. Um, Part of what happened was, I mean, I had one kid get referred to me. He'd been to 4 or 5 people in town, some of which were good, over a school phobia. And I mean, we fixed it in a session, sent him back to school. He went to school from there. And so, I mean, that was pretty cool. I'm getting a message that my battery's getting low, so I'm going to have to change location or
Uh-oh.
plug up. Or actually, I could plug up from here. Can you just kind of hang on a second?
Sure, no problem.
Because I'm getting them. I changed one of my desks today, and this is the first show doing it. It was full when I started, but I guess it takes up a lot of energy when I'm doing this and a side screen and stuff.
Yep.
I mean, it would be awful if the whole show just went off, while
That would be terrible. Absolutely.
And so I
Especially
remember
for me.
thinking, working with those people that you handle in a session, like, I like doing this, but it ain't a great way to grow a business. There's no same time next week.
Yeah.
Here's what saved me. Okay. And this is why I'm so big on content. Okay. Because I was in a town full of therapists. We used to say that Tallahassee was teeming with mental health. And what set me apart was having a weekly column in the newspaper, just talking about what I saw each week and how we approached it and how we helped, right? Holy smokes, Sue. That turned me into, it turned me from what every other counselor gets in town, or back then, when they call you up, how much do you charge and can my insurance pay for it? Reasonable questions, but it's really, how little can I pay and can I get someone else to do it? Okay.
Sure.
Having that content not only gave me a steady flow of people, but they came in and asked, how soon can I see you? Like, okay. And so that filled up my practice. That filled up my colleagues' practice. When it got syndicated nationally, it filled up other people's practices, for folks that didn't want to do on the phone coaching, or like one couple did. A lot of people did this, but this one amused me the most. They flew in from New York City to spend a week there at a Airbnb that I set up for them, and work with me every day. Okay. What was funny is they flew in from LaGuardia into little old Tallahassee Regional Airport. Okay. They're like, you're the capital city. I'm like, yeah. Okay. So all that to say, getting your content out there is what's going to do this for you. Get you a whole flow of people and people that stick around. So, and there's lots of strategies around there. All right, so let's go to your article. And folks, I want you to, this is for Sue and for all of you, I want you to notice some cool things she did here. The only thing I'd change to is I'd make that 3 a number.
Okay.
For some reason, it just pulls better. But look what she did with her 3 tips. Okay. She gave you an overview of what's coming. That makes people keep reading. It's beautiful. Okay. Now, this could get real technical and real medical sounding. But look what they are. Focus on activities, not food. Think of the grocery store as a restaurant. Never heard that before. And check for recommendations from locals for places to get a safe, gluten-free meal. Yeah, because they're the ones that are going to know, right? Whenever I travel, one of the questions I always ask is, where do the local people eat barbecue? Because I keep trying to beat the best barbecue restaurant up in Blairsville, about an hour from here, called Jim's Smoke and Pew. And on the side, it says, you can smell our butts for miles. I mean, that's going to be good, right? And so then you went on and talked about this. And what I love is this is very conversational here. It's like you're talking to a friend. It's like writing like you talk. Radio station WLYZ YT. Um, and then, okay, cool. Um, is this up anywhere? Is it on your blog, on Medium?
Not at the moment.
Okay, we'll fix that, get it driving traffic and get a call to action in there for you. But folks, once it gets up, I'll put a link to it in the show.
Oh no. We may have lost Jeff.
Well, I hope everyone enjoyed our intermission. We got some popcorn, used the bathroom. Sue, I'm so sorry.
That's all right. It happens.
There must be something wrong with that plug, because even though it said it was charging, then it went away. So I'm back over here at my old location. And note to self, don't note to self, test out a new location, even in your own place, Jeff, before you go on a show. All right. So now the good news is you've been getting suggestions while I'm gone. Yay, Phil. Put that one up. That's a great suggestion. Phil's good at stuff like that. Two good things are going to happen. All right. One, when we're done, I'm going to take this and of course, edit it and take off the Richard Nixon's 18 minutes of silence or whatever. Tell you how old I am, right? And also, I'm going to give you a little bit extra here because you hung around and I owe you. All right. So we were about to go from your article to what we're looking at now. Okay. Or wait a minute, now, which is your ascension model that I call Sue's new content kingdom that we're going to create. I'll make this a little bit bigger for us. There we go. All right. So 3 tips article. And I'm telling you, Sue, if this is the way you create content, it's going to be cool. Traffic is email. You can get it paid. You can do Medium, webinars, all kinds of stuff. Okay. Now, I like to look at entry-level products, mid-level products, and recurring revenue products. Because you've already got really kind of above the recurring revenue. You already do individual coaching, right?
Right.
Okay, which is excellent. Because here's what's going to happen. What we're going to build, some of those people will get in, and then what we're going to build will feed the individual coaching too. And they'll all feed each other. Now, one of the things we talked about before we went to intermission is you were thinking about doing small group coaching.
Yeah.
Okay. And I have a particular system to launch that. It's a one-time small group coaching, and you invite 5 people at whatever price in, and you help them with something. Well, let me ask you, what's something you could help newly diagnosed celiac patients? What's something you could help them achieve in 20 minutes or less?
Eating out for the first time.
I love it. I love it. Okay, perfect. I love it. And so you could walk them through, the menu, what's their favorite, how to eat healthy at McDonald's.
How to order it. Yeah.
Probably not, but I'm making that up. Okay, awesome. Now, from that, what's going to happen there is probably all, or at least 80% of those 5 people are going to want to continue with you. Okay. And that way you can move them up from the entry-level product to a mid-level product that's more of a ongoing group, right? Coaching group. Also a course you could do. And you've got a course in those 3 tips you gave, right? Because each one of those is a module. And so the other cool thing is, what's something else you could teach folks or give folks in 20 minutes or less?
Well, there's just how to read a label, how to set up your kitchen, what new things you need to get for your kitchen, like you need a new toaster, that kind of thing.
Love it. Love it. Why do you need a new toaster? I'm curious.
You ever looked at the crumbs in your toaster?
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to say.
Exactly. So you really just can't share a toaster.
Although there's something
called a toaster bag where you actually put the bread in this little bag and it sits right in that goes right into the toaster.
I didn't know that.
Right when you're traveling.
I like that. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine, Hal Coleman, used to run North Fulton Exterminating here near us, and now he helps exterminators build their business online. But he used to do a a video blog called Yucky Nasty Bug Facts. Okay. Great title, right?
Yep.
And he'd get on there and tell somebody about something. And he'd go, now, folks, if you don't think you have roaches, if you have a toaster, you have roaches. Okay.
Oh.
They're just waiting until nighttime and going in there at the bottom and having a smorgasbord. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How many people do you think went out and bought a new toaster after that?
Every one of them.
Exactly right. And so I love it. I love it. And I wonder if, I bet Amazon has toaster bags, right?
They probably do. Yeah.
So you could get an
link,
Amazon
put a link
affiliate
there.
link and recommend Amazon toaster bag for a stream of income.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so any of those one-time groups can grow into a long-term group. One of the things you can do at an entry-level product is like a short-term group or a short-term membership, where it's like, 10 weeks to whatever the words would be for handling celiac.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, there's also a course in your article, and you could probably do several courses from this. But let's go up to what I love is the recurring revenue. And what you could do with this, let's think here. You know what you could do? This article, this 3 tips article,
Mm-hmm.
could give you 3 months of content in a membership. Okay. Because you could send them, and I'm real big on service delivery time for us and also service consumption time for our clients, right? And I just hate things being too big and too much, and you want to make it simple and to the point and get it done. And so one of the things you could do is each week send them a video about one of those tips,
Right.
okay? And maybe a PDF talking about resources and how to do stuff with your affiliate links. And then say in the same month, do an open Q&A. Okay. So your service delivery time could be 2 hours or less, for some really good stuff. If you combine those entry level things with recurring with your one-on-one consulting, that's a content kingdom right there. And I discovered this back when I first started private practice. People in my
You're almost back.
Well,
And we're back.
yeah. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay. On my end, it looks like I'm a little froze, but all right. Chris said, well, we'll never hear the secret. Well, guess what? I'm going to give a little bit more. Sue, thank you for being a trooper and hanging out here. What we're going to do is I'm going to go and do the presentation part, but I'm going to do it from the screen I'm on.
That's fine.
So that we don't have to go through what we just went through. Or actually, I'm going to do it from right here.
Okay.
And that'll work. All right. Let's get us out of there so it can be bigger. There we go. All right. Now, the funny thing is we're almost done. So I'm going to talk fast. No more stories. What we've set up here, the entry level, the medium, the recurring, and added to your one-on-one, all of that's going to feed your one-on-one. There are going to be people in all those things that want to work with you individually, and will probably ask you about it. Okay. And the people that you're working with individually, as you let them know these things you're doing, especially that the group and the short-term or one-time mastermind, they're going to want to do that. So you're going to, we'll feed the machine. We're building the machine. We'll feed that machine, and then you'll have people all over the place at every level. Would that be okay with you?
That would be great. I'd like to just go back and refresh my memory. What is entry level? I know what the but in my case, what's the entry level? What's the mid level?
Your entry level will be a one-time small group mastermind.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you get those 5 people and 20 minutes with them, and then you move people in there to the longer term small group coaching. Okay, that's
the mid level.
Yeah, that's kind of mid level, and then we're going to move them into the recurring. And one thing to really think about all the time is all roads lead to the membership, right? Because you want to get that recurring income going on. All right, so what I'm going to do for everybody and for Sue, thank God that StreamYard has a editing thing for their video, and you know what I'll be doing in a little while, and we'll get it back up for you. Sue, bravo on your patience and hanging in there. That's why I wanted to give you a little bit more. I hope you've gotten through the interruptions a glimpse of the future here and what's possible. Any other questions at this point?
I think what you're telling me is that I have sort of 2 things going on. I have this pyramid, and then I have my one-on-one coaching.
That's one way to look at it. I would put the one-on-one coaching right up here at top.
Right at the top. Okay.
Yeah. So we would add that here at the top as part of this ascension model. I mean, you could keep it separate, but why? Because it's going to feed each other. Okay. And like I said, this is a kingdom right here. This is a content kingdom. So before we get cut off again, we're going to wrap up.
Okay.
So, folks, again, that link, it's good until midnight, January 1st, for a free content profit seat is right below. Sue, thank you for 3 things: being a great guest, bringing great content, and being patient. Because we're going to start calling you Saint Sue. All right. And so, Chris, there's the secret. You said we'll never know the secret. The reason I did this screen up top is so I wouldn't have to use the energy to do my side screen. All right. So, Sue, you and I will talk when this is over. Email me your phone number.
Yep.
Just in case we go out, I can call you.
Okay? All right.
And for everybody that joined us, thank you for being here. A lot of places you could have been, and you chose us. Sue, thank you for bringing great content and being a great guest.
Thank you, Jeff, for all this input. It's really given me a lot to think about.
Oh, good.
And implement.
What's that?
Think about and implement.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about the implementation here in a minute. So, folks, as always, until episode 120. 2022, which will be in the new year, you're invited, as always, to, say it with me, everyone, go use this stuff.